Good morning. How are you all today on this happy Saturday? It's very cold here today. I have the heat up to like, oh, my dropper isn't working. I have the heat up to like 75. Anyway, I'm going to start this little abstract. And I'm using my Bombay ink and a little old fine brush. It's not the finest, but it's small. So I have something in mind with like a little abstract kind of messy grid is what I'm thinking. So this is what I was going to start today. Now don't forget, nothing is set in stone here. You can change everything. This is just like a framework or an outline. When you're doing this, I suggest holding your brush kind of loose and kind of letting it just flow on the page. And just try to be a little loose with it. Turn it around and see if there's different angles that you like better. And if you notice, all my lines are about the same thickness, and that's not good because remember I told you everything opposite. So if you do some thin lines, now I got to do some thick lines. So I'm adding in some thick. All mine are straight, so I'm going to do some curvy. I have some dark going on here, so I got to do something up in the corner here to balance. Used all my ink already. I think I'm running low on my Bombay. I gotta get some more. Now, if you don't have Bombay ink, you can take your acrylic or your craft paint or your enamels and water it down. I'd say three part paint to 1 part water. And just mix it up in your tray or in the cap of the bottle and just make it so it's much more fluid. have to let this dry, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've decided to start this piece with my crayons instead of paint. So this is my bowl of Neocolor, Caran D Ache Neocolor 2. When you use these, you can color them on and then take water and spread them. With the Neocolor 1, which I just got last week, you color, they're equally as vibrant and beautiful texture and everything, but when you color them on, they stay right where they are. So I'm trying to think how to word this. You can use these as a color resist. In other words, not so much on the canvas I don't do it, but on watercolor paper I use these and I color and scribble and do everything, and then over them I do watercolor and it resists just like it would in a regular crayon, like a Crayola. So that's the difference between Neocolor 1 and 2. I love them both, but actually I'm going to do another video on the watercolor resist with these because it is beautiful. But for today I'm just using my canvas, and I'm just going to probably mostly use these Neocolor 2 because I want to be spreading it with water. And I've always loved these. I used to use them when I was making backgrounds for journal pages years ago, like 2009, I think. But then I put them away, and I haven't really used them much. I started using them this year a lot. I love them. They're so opaque, and the colors are luscious, and they're just great. They're expensive. I think 10 is $20. So I just buy the big batch. I mean, I spend the money on these kind of supplies because it's my business, but it's also a treat to have them, and you know, treat yourself a little and get them, because there's nothing else really like them except oil pastels. But oil pastels are oil based, and I don't know, I love them, but I don't like them because they don't dry, and they're a bit more schmeary and messy and gooey. So I like these because they're like watercolor in a stick, only much more saturated. So if you don't have any, get a small pack and try them. See if you like them. I know you will like them, but anyway, I'm starting this piece with these today because I just have such an urge to use them lately. And if I don't like what I do, again, I can paint over it with acrylic. So anyway, I just start by, and make sure they're clean because sometimes I have another color on here from mixing. So if you don't want any other colors, they do crumble a little bit as you're using them. But I just start with any color I like, just like everything else I do. And you have to use to do them on the canvas, you got to use a little force here, which sometimes it's really fun to do that. It's like taking out a little bit of anxiety on the canvas. And the harder you push, the more color you'll get, because the canvas is a little textured, so you have to push kind of hard. But before I really start, I want to show you how nice they blend. I mean, I should use two colors here, and I can't get mixed up on the ones that blend and the ones that don't. So I'm going to push my Neocolor ones away and just keep the I only have a little bit of water on my brush. It's just damp. I'll get a little more. I need my fresh water. And I just want to show you how nice they blend and they turn into like this opaque paint. I used to love using these to make my backgrounds when I first started making journals, which was 2009. And how I started making journals was I got a copy of Somerset Studio. Which one was it? They don't have it anymore. It was Somerset Studio. Oh gosh. Anyway, they had making journals with cereal boxes. So I was like, oh my God, that is great. And I made my first journal that day, and I just have been making journals ever since. I used a cereal box. I still have that journal. It's very, it's great to have, but it was awfully made. My binding wasn't tight. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you in the next video before I start painting. Anyway, see how this blends so nicely? And then I don't have a paper towel with me, but I wanted to blot it a little. Anyway, let me get paper. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just dabbed some of the color away to give a little white, and then I'll maybe add a little bit more water and try to blend the orange a little. Anyway, whatever you feel like you want to do, try it. Oh, I got a little hair in here. Okay. So, and then I want to add a little pink in here, but I don't really like drawing into the wet too much. So you just take your brush with a little water on it. If you want to just add a little bit. Oh my God, that hair is still here. And you can just take the color right off the crayon. Or you could draw into it, either way. I don't know, I don't like to for some reason. If I'm making lines, I do, but which I'll actually make. Anyway, so I used to, like I was saying, I used to use these to make my backgrounds. I would scribble on paper, maybe 3 or 4 colors, and then blend them and do lines, and it would make the most luscious backgrounds to make journal pages. Anyway, so now I'm going to take some of the color and add it a few more places. Now my Bombay ink is permanent, so I can go over it. I hope it's all dry. And the ink isn't going to move. And then I'll get some more crayons out. I have to dump these out, or I can, and now I have them mixed a little, so I don't know which is 1 and which is 2. Anyway, it's better to dump them out so you can see. And they do a little bit of, that's okay. They have a little bit of crumbly, so when you push really hard with them, there is, the crumbling aspect. But it's better if you just blow it away rather than, scrape it. And these are just first layers, I'll color in. It's like a coloring session. I'm just coloring in where I want to see whatever color I'm using. And it's kind of just like the framework. You do your outline, then you fill it in with some color to give you some motivation and inspiration to keep going and to get new ideas. You get new ideas from yourself. And that's basically it. I have no rhyme or reason of what color I'm choosing. I know I say that all the time, and there are rules to color, but I don't really use them. I use the colors that I think go well together, that I think look good on my pieces. I'm not a stickler for rules, although it's good to know them. I guess that's what they say. It's good to know them so you can break them. I don't even really pay attention to them. I mean, I know some of the rules, like you can't put a lot of color on and then mix it because you're going to get like a mud color. So I know that you have to follow the rules of letting things dry before you do the next layer. Those kind of rules I follow. But I don't really follow the rules about complementary colors, although it's good to know because sometimes you may want a complementary color or colors that go well together more than others. I just use what I like, and I encourage you to do the same. And if you don't like what you're creating when you do that, then you can change it. may do, you know, half of this canvas, and then I may start adding paint in, because I have colors in my paint that I don't have in these crayons. You know what's funny? Where is it now? Not this one. I have a favorite color that you would never believe is my favorite. Where is it? It's probably mixed in here. Well, it's this one, but in the neo color. Is this it? No, it's a lighter color than this. It's my favorite one of these crayons. It's a paler pink than this. And do you believe I cannot find it? And it's my favorite. I wonder if it's in here. Yeah, here it is right here. I mixed it in with the neo color ones. I love this color for some reason. It goes on so luscious, so thick and opaque. It's actually one of the crayons I used in all my grid work that I did when I was doing the grids to soften the edges. That and this light blue here. Oh wait, no, this is neo color one. Don't mix up your neo colors. Oh, this one. I think this is a one. I peeled off the label. Yeah. This blue, oh, I used it already, is also one of my favorites. This, and there's a lighter one. Is this it? I think so. I love that this pink and this blue. They're not my typical colors, but I just think they are so yummy. And even if you're just playing around and you're using watercolor paper, I'm using a canvas, but this is just fun to do. If you're not even making a piece of art, and you know, that you want to hang on the wall or something, and you just want to play around with color and design and experiment, these are so fun to use. So if I would suggest buying anything that costs more money, even more than the expensive paints, I would suggest to get these. Another thing is they're not that messy. If you don't feel like getting out all your paints and water and all that, these you can bring with you, and bring a little water brush with you and use in the car or when you're at a appointment waiting or whatever. They're just so versatile and easily brought with you. And there's great colors. So I would suggest definitely getting these more than any other expensive supply. I mean, the Bombay ink is another one that is just great to have, but I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought today. It's just my suggestion that if you don't want to spend too much money, but you want a really good supply, this would be the one to spend the money on. Because I think, like, I love golden paint. I mean, I love it. And for watercolor, I love Daniel Smith. But I can make beautiful pieces with Arteza watercolor. And the Arteza acrylics are very nice too. I even use craft paint. I think craft paint is also great. I even did a class, Craft Paint Madness. Some of you probably were in it. Just using craft paint to make fine art. And the pieces came out fabulous. I mean, I don't know about the longevity. I've looked it up, and the longevity of people who had used craft paint for making paintings said they were still the same as they were when they made them over the years. So I'm using a little tiny brush here. You can use a bigger one. I'll try a bigger one right now. I just love little brushes for some reason, unless I'm doing a big canvas. Then I don't like little brushes. Anyway, you can get different effects by using the bigger brushes too. Plus you cover way more space. Now you can start blending too. I didn't really want to do that. Now you're probably thinking, oh, you're going over all your black lines. Well, I'm going to be going over those black lines with more ink many times. It's part of the layering. They're just a framework, so right now I'm just, using them to see where I'm putting different colors. But I am totally going to go over them probably 3 or 4 more times after my paint dries. Now, I don't have any pink in here, and you all know that I have to use my pink. So, and this is my golden high flow fluid paint. This is another thing another supply I would say definitely buy. I mean, this little bottle is $10, so it's expensive for a little bit, but it lasts a very long time. I may have this a year, even though I use it all the time. So, sorry, I'm humming. I'm humming a song that Fonz was singing the other day. Oh, the chicken dance. Do 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 do. I just have it in my head. Okay, I got my pink now. Think of what color is your favorite that you want to have in every piece you make. And you may not have one. I just know that it's always been pink, and now it's also orange. It's actually the orange of this brand in the fluid. I don't have it with me right now, but it's also my favorite. I feel like every piece of art has to have that in it, or I can't call it mine. Oh, some of my black ink it must have not been dry. That's okay. I'll go over it later. And that's it for these first steps. Now I'm going to let this dry. Okay, see you in a bit.